Well, let's speak now. I do believe that we have on the line the South African Poultry Association's Broiler organisation, and we have Izaak Breitenbach. Mr. Breitenbach, just remind us how tariffs protect local poultry producers and how big the industry is in South Africa.
Francis, the industry is quite big. We're the second largest industry in agriculture. We employ the most people in agriculture, and this is an industry that sits at the top of the feed value chain. So it includes animal feed, grain production. It's a very big industry.
All right, and what would the impact be if tariffs came down?
I think we need to answer this question by first asking, what is the cause of the increase in prices that we've seen? Now, what we've seen is that since April last year, the price of maize and the price of soya has increased by about 20%. And that is now reflected in the chicken price that we see on the shelf. When we talk about tariffs, that's played a very small part in this price increase that we've seen in terms of chicken. Secondly, if we look in the long term, the Ukraine is of concern. Our prices are based on world market prices. So the price increases that we've seen due to the Ukraine not being able to supply maize and soya is not only impacting South Africa, it's impacting Brazil, and it's impacting the US and in Europe as well.
So it may not, the tariffs may not be a big issue in this price hike right now, but what they are saying is that the Association of Meat Importers and Exporters is that if the tariff is cut, we could see poultry prices come down by a third. So wouldn't that be great for consumers?
If that was rational, it would have been very, very good for consumers. I don't think that those numbers are rational. A big portion of the profits from not having tariffs and having dumped product in South Africa actually went into the pocket of the of AMI or the importers. So we don't expect to see that. What we actually agree on with the importers are the fact that we can talk about VAT-free chicken. The South African industry has actually approached the government about 3 years ago to suggest that. The question then is, can be asked to say what is different from 3 years ago. I think our consumer is in desperate need of relief. Yeah. And secondly, the raw material prices are at an all-time high.
All right, so you are saying that they've made profits off those imports that come in cheaply, and obviously they can add their markup. Can you respond to what they said about local poultry producers? One, that you are matching your prices, so you are hiking your prices to be in line with the tariffs, even though you don't have to pay tariffs. Two, that there's not much competition in the industry, and three, that you're making great profits and crying about something that's not a big deal.
Absolutely not true. I think if we look at the industry long term, and Genesis Capital or Genesis Analytics, a group of economists, have done a study on the industry and found that the industry in the last 10 years have not made enough money to reinvest in the industry. I think that's one important statistic. The CEO of Astral Foods this morning in the press said that their net margin is 4%. A 4% net margin for high-risk businesses like poultry businesses is incredibly low. If we look at this industry, for many years, this industry has given very low-cost chicken to the masses, and it will endeavor to do so in future as well. We see this increase in the price of raw materials as an incident that is already, the prices are already very high, and it will not last. We are concerned about the consumer. The consumer, we supply more than 70% of all product supplied come from the industry to consumers. So we're the people that kept the prices low.
Okay, so my final question then, instead of playing a blame game, if everybody worked together, what could be done to give some relief to South African consumers, if anything?
Francis, there are probably two things that we can do. The very first thing is that we hedge our raw material purchases on Chicago Board of Trade. In other words, we can buy better, and the industry will endeavor to give that through to the consumer. I think that is one component to it, and that is the more rational one, because that addresses exactly the problem that arose of high feed prices. A second one that Amy brought in was to say that we need to lobby for VAT-free chicken. We will support them in that. We believe that that is justifiable. It doesn't have the negative consequences on the industry that tariff removal will have.
All right, thank you. That was Izaak Breitenbach, head of the South African Poultry Association's Broiler organization. So these organizations disagree in many respects, but both saying maybe we could cut VAT on chicken, and potentially we're looking at quite significant price hikes in the future.